Hey, what's going on YouTube? Will here from All Electric, back again with another video. And as you can see in this video, I have my Model X running software version 2019.32.2.1. And if you are unfamiliar with my channel, my Model X is hardware 2.0 versus my Model 3, which is 2.5 hardware. So we're going to see some differences as we do navigate on autopilot and regular autopilot. So where we're headed today is to find the version 3 supercharger that's being installed in Fairfax, Virginia. Now I found this information via the Supercharger info website, which on that website it told me that the permits were applied for back in July. Now it is close to the end of September now when I'm actually driving over there, so it's been several months since the permits have been approved, which was close to the end of July. So I want to see what progress has been made and if those version 3 superchargers are online. So you can see here we are in navigate on autopilot. So that's where one blue line is going forward versus the two blue lines. And if you are unfamiliar with autopilot and you've seen any of my other videos, you know that I'm a huge fan of autopilot, especially in traffic. This is where the huge upfront cost of autopilot pays for itself. So if you don't have autopilot, I would highly suggest that you purchase it for your Tesla. If you buy a new Tesla now, today, you will get autopilot included. One thing though that I do notice with autopilot, especially in heavier traffic, you can see a lot of traffic merging in from the right-hand side. And it is the most courteous driver that you will find, especially in the Washington, D.C. area, where everybody is willing to cut you off immediately just so they can get one car in front of you. Now you can see, but let me slow it down right here. The autopilot, or the navigate on autopilot, takes this exit and then wants to take the wrong exit. Now it did give me a little warning saying that construction was detected, so navigate on autopilot is limited, but still that's a really big fail right there where the autopilot wanted to go the wrong direction where I didn't need to go, and then did do another fail right there, and that's probably because of all the construction that's going on in this area. So take that with a grain of salt. That's not very typical, although I have found that it works about 80 or 75% of the exits that I've tried. So we're off the major highway here. We are in some stop and go traffic here with some stop lights as well, and the autopilot's doing a great job. One thing that I want to mention is I found that the phantom braking, which we've seen in some other software updates, is back. Now with my Model 3 that's running 2019.32.2.2 versus this 32.2.1, the phantom braking is a lot less in my Model 3. Now I had some pretty drastic phantom braking here in the Model X that was cause for concern, especially at the highway speed where I had to quickly accelerate so I didn't get rear-ended on the highway. But anyway, so you can see this fence over to my right-hand side. I'm gonna do an illegal U-turn real quick. And right over here to the left-hand side, this old building is actually being torn down and they're building a Wawa. As we pull over to the other side of the building, we actually got a Wawa coming soon, spring 2020. So that's when I think we can expect the version 3 supercharger in Fairfax to be complete. As of right now, they just have a construction fence around the perimeter of the property and no signs of any Tesla freight that's been delivered, i.e. the version 3 superchargers being delivered. So nothing tore up in the parking lot as far as where those specific chargers are going to be at, but you can see it's at this big major intersection close to a major highway, which is really going to be convenient for a lot of people. So this location is about, I would say, 3 minutes or about 2 miles off of the major highway in this area. So with the version 3 supercharger, I would have liked to have seen it a little bit closer to the highway, but that's not my choice. So I don't see a lot of construction, and I'm really hoping that they are utilizing the same structure, the same building, and not putting up a new building, because I don't see how they're going to install a new building. I guess this probably is going to be one of the Wawas that isn't a gas station and rather just like a convenience store. hopefully, because then I think that spring 2020 deadline is pretty accurate. Now, as I think about this Wawa without gas stations and only a convenience store with EV chargers, it reminds me of an email that I got from a subscriber. Thank you so much, Rick. He sent me a PlugShare link that took me to the very first gas station that's been fully converted into an EV charging station. So it's $1.25 and then 8 cents a minute after that. So this just got unveiled. It did hit a couple other news outlets, but really cool to see this kind of conversion going on. Wait a second, is that a Bolt police car?
What the?
Oh boy, they're not running anybody down. And it makes me think Wawa is definitely leading the way. Now, this was a different type of gas station that got converted, and here's the address. This article here talking about the Wawa in Northern Virginia gives the exact location that I was at today and also specifies that they have 8 charging stations. So Wawa has a huge partnership on the East Coast with supporting superchargers from Tesla. So I really feel like as we move into this future where we don't need gasoline stations anymore and we're more convenient stores with superchargers, Wawa is definitely leading the way. So as we leave the location of this version 3 supercharger, we are back in Autopilot, regular Autopilot in the Model X. And so we do get a little bit of phantom braking here, like I had mentioned before, but it does a really good job overall. And I'm really interested to see, with this being a 2.0 car and version 10 being released soon, now we did buy full self-driving for this 2.0 car, and how that's going to change as we look at the version 10, which is probably going to require the computer upgrade for this 2.0 car. And some people online have mentioned also that the cameras are different, although I haven't seen any difference as far as automatic lane changes or even manual lane changes in Autopilot, where I turn on the turn signal, which are most of the changes that you've seen in this video. Now we're in Autopilot here, and I was trying to see if it was going to get over because these cones right here, and I had to take over. I really would have liked to see the Autopilot system recognize that there are cones and know that it needs to kind of scooch over in that lane. Driving a Model 3, I want to go back real quick. I'm used to disengaging Autopilot, pushing up on the drive stalk. And so when I disengage Autopilot here, so put my foot on the brake or turn it off, I lift up on the drive stalk here to let this truck go. And when I do that, I actually put the car into neutral and I don't realize it. So after this truck goes and I push my foot on the accelerator and the nice guy behind this truck is letting me in, I realize that I'm actually in neutral, so I have to switch it to drive before I can go again. So that's something that I hope that Tesla is able to do an update soon in the future, just to help people with Model S, X, and 3 cars, like having the same driving experience across all the vehicles. I don't know if the drive stalk is that different that they're not able to do that. So definitely let me know down in the comment section below if you know that the drive stalk is different. Speaking from my experience, I know that the turn signal on this Autopilot 2.0 car is different. So in a Model 3, if you turn on the turn signal to do a lane change, the turn signal will automatically turn off once the lane change is complete. But as you can see here in the video, when I initiate a lane change, I have to manually turn the turn signal back off once the lane change has been completed. Now, this turn signal has nothing to do with software. It is purely a hardware. So I turn the turn signal on there and I have to turn it back off because in a Model 3, the turn signal is different in that it doesn't click and stay down. It just clicks on and then the turn signal returns to its original position, versus in the Model X or older 2.0 cars, Model X and Model S, the turn signal when it's turned on will actually stay in the on position or down or up depending on if you're turning a right. So here we're going to the right lane and you see the turn signal is up until I pull it back down, turning the turn signal off. So I'm curious if you get a new turn signal stock, if you're being upgraded to the new FSD computer, so that when the car is driving by itself, if it's actually able to turn the turn signal on and off with that newer stock, not requiring any movement from the stock? Let me know if you know down in the comment section below. So before we go, I wanted to mention something that I actually got, and it is not this rubber ducky, but it is a car cover. I know this rubber ducky is pretty awesome. Sorry, rubber ducky. Now, what makes this car cover so great? All right, it has a little bag that conveniently folds up into, but it actually fits on the toy Model S. Okay, of course, I'm just kidding. This car cover is in fact for the Model 3, and I will say that the quality of this car cover is pretty impressive. It's really thick and it seems very durable, along with the soft fabric on the inside to prevent scratches. They've definitely put a lot of thought into designing this, and I've reached out to the manufacturer and actually got a 20% off discount code that I'll leave down in the description below. But you can see how it fits the Model 3 perfectly, and it goes almost all the way to the floor, which is exactly what you want from a car cover. Here's a shot of the vent, which is great if you're charging or the car needs to run the battery. And here's where you can actually hide the key for somebody to move the car if need be. Let's say it's in like a storage lot or something like that. Really nice features. Also that you can leave the car plugged in with the whole car protected from scratches and the weather as well. So really nice access to the charge port there. Just keep in mind when you open it up that you might have to adjust the cover around, but that's no big deal at all, especially if you keep the car plugged in. But overall, the fit of this car cover is really nice, and I like how it covers the entire car, and it only took me a few minutes to get on and just a couple minutes to get off. Now, similar to when you take a tent out of the bag the first time, you're never going to get it back in, so I definitely did not take my time folding this thing up, and I just simply stuffed it back in the bag, and it fit just fine. So over on Amazon, with this 20% coupon, you can actually get this for 110 bucks, which is not bad because free shipping is included. If you want to see other products that I also recommend or have featured in my videos, click the link down below to my Amazon shop, and they're all conveniently located for you right there. Huge shout out to my all-electric tier supporters, Armana Min and Akram Atul. Thank you so much, guys. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so yet, click that subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next one.